good on paper is what gets you the interview. And unfortunately, I think that some of us are not necessarily prepared all the way, but that's what this class is for. So, and this is what this feedback is about. So I want to talk about resumes first. First off, templates. We need to use them. There are reasons why we use them. Your template will help you set your margins. It will help you with your font, your placement, and your spacing. I recognize that some of y'all look like y'all typed them out. Not look like, I know you did. You typed out your resume and you took more time than you needed to when a template was ready for you. Or you tried to change the spacing in your template. Do not do that. Additionally, some of you all, most of you all sent me your stuff in Microsoft Word. Never do that. Never send someone a resume or cover letter in Microsoft Word. You think it doesn't happen, but it does. People will change your stuff to make it seem like you're not qualified or you submitted something that was crap. Always submit it in a PDF. I recognize that with me, it's a class, so you probably felt comfortable doing that. But when you're applying for jobs and internships, send them a PDF. Also, look at your PDF before you submit it because formatting can change when you change things in the template. So that's that. In terms of margins, fonts, placement, and spacing, if you use the template and not edit it, the only thing you should be editing on a template is the details, and you can change the font size, and you can change colors if you want to, but there should be some consistency. There's no reason why your section headers are all different, like education, experience, awards. That should all be the same. When you talk about jobs, your fonts with your jobs should be the same. Your details in your jobs should be the same. And all of that. So when you get a template, don't try to edit anything in the template besides color, font size, which should be 11 or 12, or just add your details. Next thing is details on the resume. You do not need to include your address or your zip code. The reason why I say that is because not only does it leave room for people to discriminate against you, so for example, certain neighborhoods in Little Rock, which are zoned by zip codes, people can see, oh, well, this is a predominantly black neighborhood, or this is a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood. Don't give people an opportunity to cut you out the process based off their assumptions. Because yes, they're wrong and they shouldn't be doing it, but you gave them access to the information by putting the full address. So if I'm writing a resume, I'm going to put Chelsea Fox, cfox@philander.edu, phone number, Little Rock, Arkansas. That's all they need to know. City and state. Don't give them other details. Also, resumes can go public. Some resumes can be found online. I feel like y'all's president resume is actually online. But some resumes can be put out online, and some resumes go out through departments or organizations because they want people to know this is the candidate we're interviewing. This is what you should know before they come here. That stuff is getting sent out to dozens of people. That's what I do in my role. We interview dozens of people. We always send their resume out to our entire department, which is made of 75 people. You never know what people are doing with your information or what they're doing. You know, people looking up your house on Google Homes and stuff, Google Maps. Don't give them that information. City and state only. Next thing, bullet points. Some of y'all included bullet points, and that was great. And some of y'all didn't. And I don't know how you expect anyone to know what you've done in a job or if you're qualified if you don't explain what you've done. So, because of that, you need bullet points. The safe amount is 4 to 5 bullet points per job. Your bullet points should be consistent, meaning if you have 4 to 5 bullet points in this first job, your second, third, or whatever job after that needs to have 4 or 5 bullet points. Now, when you're writing bullet points, you need to use complete sentences, meaning they need to have different parts of speech. I ain't even gonna explain them all, but they need to have a period at the end as well. When you're writing your bullet points, you need to use action verbs. I coordinated, I planned, I facilitated, I supervised, I monitored, I assessed, I analyzed, I created. You know, you need to use action verbs because those action verbs is what comes up in the ATS system, like the system that search. Sometimes humans don't look at these resumes. So like they put in words that they're looking for. And if those words aren't popping out in your resume, you don't get an interview. So be mindful of that. The next thing, I have notes. Next thing, or it segues into this, is that your resume, I know some of y'all aren't actually applying for jobs or internships, but when you do, you need to read the internship or job description. It's going to have a blurb about what the job is, and it's going to bullet point what they're looking for, what skills you should have. You need to highlight the words or the verbs that stand out in that job description or that job announcement, and then be able to communicate that in your bullet points. So that is that. Next thing is details on things that are not jobs. Some of you all use organizations or committees, and it wasn't clear if you were a member of the organization or if you had a role in the organization. In any regard, if you're using your organizations and committees as a job to show that you had a role in everything I just said about bullet point applies. If you're not, you're just showing that you were involved in the organization. You do not need to give us a paragraph about what that organization is. We can learn it about you through either your cover letter or your interview. But if they want to know, they can Google. Some of y'all put paragraphs on stuff, and paragraphs are not necessary, and they just take up space. They don't give it that much thought. They're concerned about job experience. Volunteer experience, same thing. Like when I was a Girl Scout troop leader, I don't have to explain what Girl Scouts is. That's the kind of, not universal, but like nationally, people know what that is. But I can still put like women's empowerment organization or mentoring organization. I don't have to give full details about the region I worked in and all this other stuff. So keep that in mind. Last thing is relevance. My video is long already, I apologize. Relevance. A lot of you all talk about things you did in high school and you are a junior or senior in college. From here on out, for the rest of your life, only talk about things that are within the last 2 years of your work experience. Unless your previous experience is directly spot on related to the job. So for me, I graduated with my master's in 2017. I don't talk, and it's 2020 now. I don't list anything on my resume past 2018 unless it is exactly relevant to the role. Now with that, the caveat is you may have some jobs that are relevant, that are past, or that you did have before. So let's say if I wanted to continue to work in retail, I can put that I worked retail or fast food. I worked at Pizza Hut. I worked at McDonald's before. I've worked at a shoe store. I've worked at Ulta. All of this, but way before, a long time ago. You can list that stuff, but you can have less bullet points on it because it's not that relevant. You only pull out the relevant information. In addition to that, while I'm saying this, there are some jobs people have had that we know what the job is. We know what a cashier does. We know what a sales associate does. What is different about this role that may not be the same as other roles? For example, I worked at Ulta when I was in grad school, and I was a prestige sales associate. And Ulta is a makeup store for people who aren't following. I was a prestige sales associate, not a regular sales associate. So I had to sell the high-end makeup and perfumes, the YSL, Gucci, whatever. If I list that on a resume, if I were to, I'm going to talk about how that is different, or talk about things that are different, not the common, oh, we'll help with customer service and handle cash payment and debit card payment, blah, blah, blah. It's safe to assume that you've done that. We know that. Talk about other things that we may not know about the position. So last thing about resumes is that you don't have to list skills and proficiencies. Some of y'all listed them out, like I know how to do Excel, PowerPoint, SQL, whatever. That's cool and that's cute, but you can put all that in a bullet point somewhere because it's still going to come up in the system when they search it. When they look for words, it'll come up. This is the tricky one that I really need you to listen to. First off, a cover letter is a letter, so it should be written as such, meaning it needs to be addressed to someone. So if I'm applying for a job to Philander, to begin with, I'm using a header with my name, my email address, my phone number, city, and state at the top. I either use the header function in Microsoft Word, or it's already in the template for me to put it in. That's the first thing. It should not be a blank letter that you like fold up and mail, you know? Next thing, it's addressed to someone. So after that, with my details, I'm addressing it to Philander Smith College. 900 West Daisy Base Drive, Little Rock, Arkansas, 72202. Put that physical address or information or the office name of whoever, the organization or whatnot that you're applying to. Followed by the date. The date is not necessarily something you have to do, but it's nice to do. Followed by the date, and then to whom it may concern, or to John Smith, or to the hiring committee, because it is a letter. That's just a formality. Please do that always, all times. Next thing is your resume is supposed to tell a story. I mean, your cover letter, I'm sorry. Your cover letter is supposed to tell me a story. I should be able to learn things about you that I will not be able to learn about you from reading your resume. Therefore, you should not have to repeat what is on your resume. You don't need to tell me what you're studying or what your GPA is or all of these other things that are on your resume. You don't have to repeat that. I've read it already. If you pass our system to where I'm interested in interviewing you, I've read all that. I don't care about that. Do not repeat it. Do not reiterate it. However, you're supposed to talk about yourself, your highlights, your accomplishments, and how you're qualified for the job. So I'm just going to be talking through it. Let's start with the introductory paragraph first. Because it is a letter, it's supposed to have 3 to 4 paragraphs. Introductory paragraph. You can say, to whom it may concern. It's with great esteem. You can butter them up just a little bit. You ain't got to do all that, just a little bit. It is with great esteem that I apply for this position. Listen, I applied for this position because I was looking for opportunities where I could supervise a team, plan social events, lead projects, and still facilitate learning about teaching pedagogy. That clearly explains why you applied for the job. You could then go on to say, I have been able to maximize resources, I value relationship building, and I work well in groups. As a result of these things, I think that there's no one other than me qualified for this open position. Introductory paragraph right there. Boom. Not only did you tell them why you're interested, you made them feel good that you're applying. Like, okay, yeah, they giving us some respect. But then you explained, I was looking for this, you all matched that. You then explained, these are some of the skills that I have that I value. That is why I feel like I'm qualified. Simple introductory paragraph. I'm gonna try to leave y'all some templates for the cover letter too. Next paragraph. Next paragraph after that is bragging, straight bragging. I need to be able to learn about you because I shared in my introductory paragraph, because they would not be able to tell it to my resume, I like supervising people. I like leading teams. I like planning social events. I like facilitating trainings. They won't know that from reading my cover letter. So I'm going to expound off of that like an expository essay and share how I've done those things. So I will then say, or go in to talk about, I have been able to supervise teams in several positions, and what I've learned or gained, or what my theory to supervision is X, Y, and Z. That's the first few sentences of the body paragraph. Next few sentences. I've also been responsible for planning or coordinating large events for different organizations that have spent this type of money or this amount of money and has this type of outcome. You got to give facts and figures with what you're doing too as you brag about yourself, because they want to see that you've done this before. So in any regard, it is laid out like an expository essay based on what you say you have done or why you feel you're qualified. And then you brag about yourself. You could brag about yourself in 1 paragraph, 2 paragraphs. Just keep it all on 1 page. Conclusion paragraph. It's a summary of what you discussed, but also what you want them to understand. So if I were to summarize something, I could say, as a result, or as you can see, my passion for education is self-evident. I enjoy this, and I use this theory to guide my work. Because of this, I look forward to hearing from you, speaking with you, to further discuss my qualifications in the job. That's the end of the conclusion paragraph. You don't have to say, you can email me or contact me at this information. Why? Because your contact information is already in the header at the top of the page. That is also something that needs to be sent in a PDF format as well. I'm looking tired because I've really been talking and I re-recorded this video like 3 times. So yes, but what else before? Oh, after your closing, you should not just end your cover letter with the last sentence. There needs to be a thank you, or sincerely, or kindly, or whatever, followed by your name. Because most of the time we are not going to be able to sign or put electronic signatures on it, you can literally just put, after you say thank you or goodbye or whatever you want to say, space, put your name. So as you can see, like on all my emails, after I say thank you, after I say kindly or whatever, it says Chelsea Fox, MED. MED, obviously, because that's my master's degree. But, boom, period. So, because of that, that is all my feedback. If you've made it this far in the video, I hope you have, and you ain't had me wasting my time. But, bam. Because of all of that, you will be expected, or you are expected, to update your resume and cover letter. It should be following the guidelines I discussed in this video, but also the guidelines and the templates that I will share with you. You will be doing mock interviewing again. And because of you doing mock interviewing again, and you have your resume and you will learn more things about interviewing, you are expected to have a printed copy of your resume to give to the people you're going to be interviewing with. And let me say this. When you are saving, again, I recognize y'all may be doing this because you're in class with me, and that's fine. But when you are sending your resume to people, you need to save your resume with your name. So for example, Chelsea_Fox resume. What I do personally, I put C Fox resume and I put the date. So like today's like March 7th or 8th, I'll put C Fox resume 3/8. That way I know, because my resume's changed so much, I know what version of my resume or when I wrote my resume. So I'll put C Fox resume 3/8. You don't have to put the name of the assignment. You can put the job sometimes. So like I'll put C Fox resume assistant director 3/8. Or assistant director for like whatever it is. So you can put like assistant director PSC 3/8. That way you know what job you submitted it for. We know who it belongs to. And you know the date that was on it. So that's just the rule of thumb.